Lord Byrum Clay sat beside his son's body and frowned at the High Lord Raven.
But how could the Lightstones have done this?
Remus Raven's lips curled into a mocking sneer at the thought of the Lightstones teaming up with Nathan Hayfield.
I've been a fool this whole time to think they really had me believing that the Hayfield family was secretly powerful. Ridiculous.
Think logically here, Byrum. I wasn't sure at first, but now it seems obvious. At the duel with your son Jason, Stuart Lightstone was in the crowd nearby. The atmosphere of the fight was chaotic, messy, and most of the crowd were low-level spiritual fighting students, people who wouldn't have been able to see if Stuart had ambushed Jason. I mean, really, think about it. A fast sneak attack from behind, and, from the student's viewpoint, it would have seemed like Nathan was the killer.
Are you certain, my lord? Would the Lightstones really have gone against us so severely?
Earlier this morning, after you arrived, some of my many spies returned to me. They spoke of rumors swirling around regarding Sir Ian Lightstone meeting with Lady Amelia Hayfield in secret by the Swan Pavilion in the Duke's public gardens.
What could they possibly have been discussing?
My men do not know yet, but whatever it is, I don't like it. I'm sure there's something fishy going on here. Lord Byrum sighed as he stared down at his son Michael's body.
Could it really be true? I guess Stuart Lightstone was, in fact, a beginner level 9 when Jason was killed. For a crowd of weaklings, maybe they didn't see what really happened.
The High Lord Raven rose from where he sat and began to pace back and forth anxiously. Besides, everyone in the crowd at Sweetberry Tavern said Michael was struck down in an instant. Nobody moved, and then, suddenly, Michael fell dead. I'm sorry, Byrum, but there's just no way that could have happened without Sir Ian's intervention. The Hayfield boy couldn't possibly be that strong. Tears welled up in Lord Byrum's eyes as he hung his head low.
If the Lightstones really are backing House Hayfield, then there's nothing to be done about any of it. An official report of my son's death would be pointless.
Lord Byrum wiped his face and looked up as the High Lord Raven's shadow loomed over him. Remus smiled down at his crying vassal. Do you think that just because the Lightstones are backing them that the Hayfields can sleep peacefully? Think again, Lord Clay. Don't count out the strength of House Raven. We have plenty of backers of our own. Lord Byrum's face grew red with rage. His sorrow was soon replaced by a deep need for vengeance.
High Lord Raven, sire, whatever happens next, I beg of you, I will do whatever you say, whatever it takes, so long as the Hayfields and the Lightstones are fully destroyed.
Do not worry yourself, Lord Clay. No matter their backers, the Hayfields will be wiped off the face of the earth in a matter of days. That much I can guarantee you. Meanwhile, back at the Hayfield family's hotel room, Nathan and Amelia sat across from Ulrich as he stroked his beard and nodded his head. Nathan idly sharpened his blade as his father spoke. "You're right, of course, lad. There's no way they would have left you alone had you retreated. A family like the Clays knows only the power of strength, and so strength is what you gave them. Do not dwell on this issue any longer, for you were in the right." Before Nathan had told his father the truth about his real power, Ulrich would have fretted over this news. Now, however, Ulrich understood that Michael Clay and Niles Raven were novices when compared to Nathan's expert swordsmanship and magical abilities. Ulrich knew that even the High Lord Raven himself probably stood no chance against his son. It is strange, though, that another Lightstone boy was there to save you. Nathan stopped sharpening and pondered his father's words. "You're right. It is strange. Either through fate or dumb luck, they always seem to be there." Ulrich stroked his beard more fervently as his brow furrowed. I'm worried that we have implicated House Lightstone in our own personal squabbles with the Ravens and the Clays."
"I wouldn't worry much about it, Father."
"Oh? Why is that, lad?"
"In just a few weeks, the aristocracy examination will begin. Given the physical and reputational damage I just dealt with, I doubt they'll have time to prepare another subterfuge before them. Lord Byrum Clay has no more sons, and if he wishes to keep his brothers from squabbling over who will be his heir, he'll need to remarry and birth another child. That ought to keep him busy for a while. As for House Raven, they'll be forced to wait until the examination before moving against us again, unless, of course, they can find a more powerful backer."
"Lad, you know as well as I do that the High Lord Raven has Duke Godricson's ear."
"He does have one ear, that much is true, but the other ear belongs to the High Lord Lightstone. I doubt the Duke will intervene in the meantime."
Nathan smiled reassuringly towards his father. In his mind, he wished to tell his father of his plans for the examination, that he submitted plans to challenge the entire House Raven on his own, and that, after the examination, he would ensure that the Hayfield's enemies were no longer any issue whatsoever. Ulrich dropped his hands from his beard and smiled at his son.
"Very well then, lad. We'll do our best to hold on to our seat of power, and even if the title falls, I'm confident that some day soon you'll have the power to take it back."
Nathan merely nodded his head. He wished to put his father at ease, but he knew that in a few weeks he would astonish his father by exceeding his expectations once more. The news of Michael Clay's swift death at the hands of Nathan Hayfield didn't take long to spread throughout the city of Godricshall. The 2 weeks leading up to the aristocracy examination passed quickly, and Nathan's heart fluttered with excitement whenever he walked past the massive stage being built in the center of Godricshall Plaza. Sometimes, on his morning runs, he finished his workout at the stadium. As he caught his breath, he watched the workers build the stands higher and higher. He figured that, by the day of the examination, more than 80,000 people could cram into the square. As he strengthened his core muscles and prayed to the heavens, he imagined what 80,000 people would sound like, what it would be like to duel in the stadium grounds, where every stroke of his blade would be watched and scrutinized by the people of the fiefdom. Early on the morning of the first day of the examination, thousands more onlookers poured into the city from the surrounding countryside, each and every one of them desperate to view the incredible spectacle that happens only once every 10 years. Some were there to cheer on their lords, while others secretly watched in the hope their masters would fall to a more benevolent leader. The sun had barely breached the sky when people entered the stadium in groups of 2 or 3 to save their seats for the day. It was a first-come, first-served event, after all, and thousands of latecomers would be left to stand outside of the plaza listening to the battles or peering over the stadium from a nearby rooftop. Nathan continued his daily training of running around the outskirts of the city at sunrise. As he passed the plaza, he saw a familiar face, one he did not expect. Hilda Moonweaver made her way over to Nathan and stopped him in the middle of his run.
"There you are, young Master Hayfield."
"Hilda, what a pleasant surprise. What brings you all the way to Godricshall?"
"Why, you and that family of yours, of course. Say, any interesting tidbits or stories you've heard around town lately?"
"Not really, sorry."
"Oh, that's all right. I've heard quite a bit about your own exploits here. So if you were a betting man, what would you put your chances at keeping your family's title? Any injuries or secret weapons I ought to know about before I head into the stadium?
Nathan chuckled at her presence.
"Listen, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but there's a 100% chance my family loses its title this time around."
"What? What are you talking about, boy? Is everything all right?"
"Nothing's wrong at all, I promise you. But when you reach the betting booth, put it all on us losing our title, and on House Raven losing theirs as well."
"House Raven? Are you joking? They've held their position for centuries.
Take my advice, Hilda. Place your bets as you wish, but if you listen to me, you will be rich enough to build that back patio you've always dreamed of.
But how could... hey, wait! How did you know about my back patio designs? I guess someone in town sure likes to gossip.
Nathan laughed as he nodded at a flustered Hilda and finished up his run. By late afternoon, the venue was already packed full of people, with members of the noble houses occupying the optimal seating at the bottom of the stands.
Trumpets blare. Massive crowd roars.
Trumpets announced the start of the opening ceremony as the three High Lord houses, the Lightstones, the Ravens, and the Hales, entered the stadium with hundreds of attendants and took their seats at the very front, behind the Duke's own representatives. Next to enter were the 10 smaller noble houses, each one to follow less impressive than the one before. A few houses had several dozen members, but most were fairly small. By far the smallest, of course, was House Hayfield, which entered the stadium last and took seats at the back of the lower stands set aside for nobles. Compared to any of the great High Lord houses, the Hayfield family's decline looked even starker than ever before, considering it was only Ulrich, Amelia, and Nathan, with no attendants by their sides. At this time, one of the Duke's representatives, clad in white and silver robes, stood up and made his way into the center of the dueling square. The roar of the crowd died down as he opened his arms up toward the heavens. Clap! His hands clapped together and echoed out over the space, shushing any careless whisperers who failed to pay attention. Finally, when silence fell over the stadium, his voice boomed out to those in the crowd. My fellow citizens of Godric's-land, the sky is bright and beautiful with no clouds on the horizon. Clearly, the heavens wish to have a good view of our trials this day. As many of you know, this examination is no simple test. Oh, no. This is the day when new lords shall be born, new houses shall rise, and old houses shall fall, all by the grace of the heavens, and through the might of the sword. I hereby declare the start of the aristocracy examination. Roaring and clapping crowd. The stadium's crowd went wild as the many thousands clapped and cheered all at once, filling the entire city with thunderous applause. They had all waited for this moment for a decade, and finally it had come. As Nathan took in the enormity of the moment, he caught a glimpse of a man's eyes on him. As he stared down to the very front rows, he spotted the High Lord Raven himself. For the first time, he saw the man who wished to destroy his family. As Remus sneered threateningly at Nathan in return, Nathan merely scoffed with amusement at the man's expression. Nathan knew that finally their fates would be decided, and he was relieved that the time of skullduggery and anxiously waiting around was over. After all, one house must rise, while another must fall.